All right, settle in, because today we're diving into a book that's less of a story and more like uh, a force of nature. We're talking about N.K. Jemison's The Fifth Season. Seriously, this isn't just another fantasy novel. It felt like a literary earthquake. Really shook things up.
Yeah, definitely. And our goal here in this deep dive is to really dig into all those layers, the geoscience, which is fascinating, the sharp social commentary, and, well, the sheer emotional depth, all the stuff that cemented its place. It wasn't just critically loved. It was the first book ever to snag 3 Hugo Awards for Best Novel in a row. Just unprecedented.
Totally unprecedented. And reading it, it's not like just reading a story. It feels more like you're watching a fault line crack open. And inside isn't just lava, but like the molten core of human cruelty, but also resilience. It sticks with you. So, to get a handle on its impact, we've kind of boiled down insights from a really thorough book review looking at the story, the world, its legacy, basically a shortcut to why this book hits so hard.
Okay, so the world Jemison built, this supercontinent called the Stillness. It's almost a character itself, right?
Right.
And kind of the main antagonist. But don't let that name fool you. Stillness. Not really. This planet has these massive tectonic temper tantrums. They call them fifth seasons.
Fifth Seasons sounds ominous.
Oh, it is. We're talking years-long volcanic winters
Yeah.
just routinely wipe out whole civilizations. It's brutal.
Wow. Okay, that's a terrifying backed it up. So on this incredibly volatile planet, how do people even survive?
Yeah.
How have they adapted? What does it say about their society?
Well, they've adapted by creating these incredibly rigid social hierarchies. You've got comms, communities, basically ranked by how useful they are. And then you have the stills, the regular people, non-Orogens, who live in constant fear. And here's the messed up part.
Yeah.
They fear the very people, the Orogens, who have the power to literally stop the Earth from shaking itself apart, the ones who could save them.
Right, the Orogens. So these are the individuals who can manipulate geological forces, control earthquakes, volcanoes, that kind of thing.
Exactly. They have this immense power, but like you said, they're feared and controlled, viciously controlled.
How is that control shown physically?
Well, they're marked. They have these black uniform things called nodes, basically identifying marks. And they wear collars that can be detonated remotely.
Detonated, jeez.
Yeah, it's a stark visual,
Yeah.
a constant, brutal reminder of their oppression, who's really in charge.
And what's so interesting, especially for fantasy, is that this power, orogeny, it isn't just waving hands and magic words, right?
Yeah.
It's grounded in science.
Absolutely. It's one of the coolest parts. Orogeny follows rules, thermodynamics, geothermal gradients, Newton's laws. So, for example, if an orogene pulls heat from the ground to, say, freeze a river, well, that heat has to go somewhere. The surrounding air temperature goes up. Basic thermodynamics.
Okay, I see.
Or if they try to quell an earthquake along one fault line, that massive energy shift might trigger a supervolcano somewhere else entirely. Equal and opposite reaction. It's a closed system. Nothing comes from nothing.
It's so cleverly done. It's not just world-building flavor, though, is it? It connects to bigger ideas. Magic is science. Science is survival. Survival is politics. What's the commentary there?
I think it's a really profound commentary on power, control, and how fear gets weaponized in any society, really. Jemison makes you ask, what's the real cost of stability? And how easily can a group in power demonize and oppress another group, even when essential for survival, just by stoking fear?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about the way the story is told. The structure itself is unusual. The review called it 3 narrative fault lines that eventually crash together. Can you introduce us to the women at the heart of these?
Sure. So first there's Essen. She's middle-aged, a mother, and secretly an orogene herself, hiding it. Her story kicks off with just absolute devastation. She comes home, finds her toddler son beaten to death by his father because the boy showed signs of orogeny. And her daughter, Nasen, has been kidnapped by the father. So Essen just sets out across this continent that's already literally cracking apart under a new fifth shift, and grief is just pouring off her.
Oh my God, that's heavy.
Then you have Damaya. She's just a child, but a gifted orogene. She gets ripped away from her family, her village, by someone called a guardian.
A guardian. Sounds protective, but I'm guessing not.
Not really. No, they're part of this sort of militarized order controlling orogenes. They take Damaya to the fulcrum. It's basically a school, but its main teaching tool is fear. Breaking these kids, weaponizing them for the empire.
Grim. And the third?
The third is Cyanite. She's a young adult, a rising star at the fulcrum, very skilled. She gets assigned to go on a mission with Alabaster. He's older, incredibly powerful, but also really unstable. And this mission, Well, it ends up uncovering the massive lie the empire is built on. It completely shatters everything she thought she knew.
So 3 women, Essen, Demaya, Cyanide, all Aragians, all facing this incredibly hostile world in different ways. How does Jemison connect these threads initially?
Well, one of the most striking things is the narration. A lot of it is in the second person. It addresses you.
Right, the you narration. That could be so gimmicky, but it
Yeah.
isn't.
No, it really works. It feels less like a gimmick and more like a geological pressure
Right.
right on your ribs. It pulls you straight into their immediate experience, their fear, their pain.
It really does. It's so immersive, almost unsettling. You're not just reading about them. The text tells you, you are Essen, you are Demaya, you are Cyanite, and somehow that makes you feel almost complicit, pulled right into the world's unfairness. Their struggles feel like yours.
And then there's Jemison's language itself, the prose. Wow. It shifts just like those tectonic plates she writes about, sometimes smooth flowing, then suddenly violent, jarring.
Yeah, the review pulled out some amazing examples, like describing Essen's grief as a pressure wave, slow and inexorable, grinding her bones to dust, or
Right.
a child's first uncontrolled burst of orogeny as a lullaby of fracture and heat. It's so visceral. You don't just read it, you almost feel it.
Absolutely. And it raises that question, right? How do you even build a vocabulary for a world like this? There's a glossary in the back, but the review nails it. It's not just helpful, it's like a warning. You will need new words for new cataclysms.
That's great. And it's not just geological terms, is it? She invents slang, ways people talk, like raga, this awful slur for orogenes.
Right, or technical terms that become everyday, like cessipinae. Those are the kind of organ-like things orogenes have that let them sense seismic activity. It shows how prejudice, biology, power, it's all baked right into the language people use every day. It's brilliant world building.
So clever.
And building on that, there's this clear parallel Jemison draws. The planet's geological cycles, these fifth seasons, they explicitly mirror social cycles. Every time a fifth season is looming, you see this hardening of borders, a calcifying of hierarchies, a literal and figurative cooling of empathy. Society closes in on itself.
That's such a powerful connection. Can you give an example of that? How does that cooling of empathy show up before things really fall apart geologically?
Well, you see it in small ways first, like
Mhm.
the comms, the communities. They get way more insular. Hoarding resources, suspicion ramps up. And the stills, the regular folks, their fear of orogens gets amplified. They become much more willing to accept the fulcrum's brutality, trading freedom for this illusion of safety. The system meant to manage the disaster actually makes the social divisions worse.
Which circles back to that core theme, right? This isn't just wizards and dragons fantasy. It's this deep meditation on motherhood under empire and the raw politics of who gets to survive a catastrophe. The empire decides.
Precisely. And it highlights the central injustice. The Orogens, the only people who can literally control the earth-shattering forces, are enslaved. Why? Because their very power threatens the empire's control, their monopoly on defining stability.
Okay.
It forces you to ask, who gets sacrificed when the planet shrugs? And the answer in the book is clear. It's never random. It's always the marginalized, the other.
And looking back at Essen, Demaya, and Cyanite, you see these themes embodied. Essen starts out trying to be small, hidden, but eventually embraces her power, becomes this force of nature.
And Demaya's story is this chilling look at institutional grooming, how the fulcrum twists these children into weapons who police themselves.
While Cyanite's journey is maybe the most overtly political, she directly confronts the lies holding the empire together.
Right. And the most gut-wrenching realization, the one the review points out, is that all 3 women are the same woman at different stages of fracture. Understanding that connection just deepens everything. It shows the different facets of oppression, how it shapes a person over a lifetime.
Let's talk about the violence, too, because it's pervasive, but different. It's rarely splashy or spectacular. It's more intimate, institutional, even geological, woven into the world.
Exactly right. It's not about huge battles. The review gives these chilling examples. A child's collar detonates with the quiet pop of a bubble. Or Essen's grief being measured in the number of bones she must break to reach her daughter. It's quiet, personal, devastating.
And sometimes the most horrifying violence isn't physical at all. That classroom scene the review mentions, Demaya forced to kneel on broken glass while a guardian lectures her on gratitude. That's terrifying in a whole different way.
Oh, absolutely. That scene perfectly illustrates that idea. The most effective chains are invisible until they tighten. Psychological control, framing abuse as instruction or care, that can be way more damaging than just physical force.
The structure, too, contributes to this feeling. It's not linear. It jumps around, mimicking, as the review says, geological strata, layers of time, layers of perspective.
hmm And that structure builds towards the novel's central mystery. Remember those second-person bits starting each chapter?
Yeah.
You or she.
Yeah, who is that narrator? Who is she?
Exactly. That mysterious voice slowly, painstakingly peels back the layers, revealing the novel's deepest secret. It's such a clever way to keep you hooked, constantly trying to piece it together, connecting you directly to the puzzle.
And when the reveal hits, it's like another earthquake, a narrative one. It just reconfigures everything that came before. Timelines snap into place, identities shift. Even the genre feels like it transforms. What felt like epic fantasy suddenly feels more like hard sci-fi, planetary science fiction. What seemed like a quest becomes this massive reckoning. It's seriously mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's a masterful construction. Now look, a book this ambitious, it might have a few minor bumps for some readers. Its richness, the density of the world building, it can be a lot to take in. The glossary gets pretty long. The timelines can feel tangled sometimes. Maybe some minor characters blur a little. And yeah, that second-person voice, while powerful, for some it might take a minute to click, feel a bit distancing at first.
Sure, I can see that. But like the review says, those are really just minor tremors in a work whose ambition is nothing less than rewriting epic fantasy's DNA. Small quibbles in the face of what Jemison achieves.
Absolutely. The impact of the fifth season is just huge. It really did reshape the genre. It showed everyone that epic fantasy could center Black women, that you could have hard, rigorous science alongside deep, complex emotion, and that a magic system could be both scientifically sound and politically radical, all at the same time.
And it bled out into the real world too, didn't it? Inspired university courses on Afrofuturism, geology, outreach stuff. There's even a climate justice nonprofit called Orogeny.
Yeah, that shows you how much it resonated. It's more than just a book. It gave people a new lens.
A new lens and maybe new words.
Definitely. Maybe its biggest contribution is giving readers a new vocabulary for catastrophe. Thinking about world-ending events not as a one-off apocalypse, but as a season. That reframes everything. It implies cycles, recurrence, something you prepare for, endure, maybe even learn from, rather than just the final end.
So wrapping up this deep dive, reading the fifth season really is like standing on a fault line during a quake that's happening in slow motion. You feel the ground shifting under you, the plates grinding, the future itself rearranging. It's immersive, yeah, unsettling, but just unforgettable.
Jemison isn't offering escapism here. It's more like exhumation, digging up the hidden cruelties, the buried strengths, the things societies try to ignore.
And it leaves you, the reader, with this massive question hanging in the air, something to really chew on. What will you do with the knowledge that the world is ending and that you are part of the reason why?
Heavy stuff. And the answer, well, the book suggests the answer, like the planet itself, is still forming. It's a prompt, maybe, for us to think about our own world, its cycles, its injustices, and where we stand within all that.